weeks back on the News Hour, we had put out a story, the first report that came out on what is proving to be another political hot potato for the government, the Prevention of Communal Violence Bill. Now, this is a law that has been drafted by the Sonia Gandhi-led National Advisory Council. It's very controversial because the BJP says it's anti-majority. There are several points the BJP makes on this whole bill. Point number one, it says that this bill, as drafted by the Sonia Gandhi-led committees, presupposes that communal violence are acts of violence committed only against the minority by the majority. They say the majority, in this case, of course, the reference is to the majority religion, is not protected. They also, another point of contention in this whole bill is about the composition of the national authority, which the NSC says there should be 4 members of the minority community. So there is an interpretation to that. The BJP has a different question to that. This is, of course, just a draft report of the bill, but this is going to be a political hot potato. Sonia Gandhi will take it to the Prime Minister, then it goes to Cabinet, and many believe that there is a political force that Sonia Gandhi has to force this bill through. Will that happen? Will it get through Parliament? Let's open up the debate today on the provisions of this bill, which have been red flagged by the BJP, and for the first time on the News Hour, we are having an open house on this. I'd like to welcome member of the National Advisory Council, Dr. Naresh Saxena, who has been critical in drafting this bill. Dr. Saxena, thank you for coming. Kamal Faruqui, Chairman of the Delhi Minorities Commission, ex-Chairman of the Delhi Minorities Commission, thank you very much. We're also joined this evening by Saifuddin Soz, top Congress leader, Mahesh Jethmalani, giving the opposite perspective of the BJP, and RSS, pro-RSS thinker and columnist Rakesh Sinha. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Dr. Saxena?
Yes.
You have written out what is going to be a political hot potato.
Well, in fact, I don't think so, because this bill is to provide protection of the law to non-dominant groups. Non-dominant groups could be scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, it could be linguistic minorities, it could be Biharis in Maharashtra, it could be Bengalis in Assam, there could be Tamilians in Karnataka, and it will also provide protection of law to the religious minorities. Don't forget that Hindus are a religious minority in 7 states. So therefore, don't put it as if it is going to be majority versus minority. It is to provide the, just as a women's domestic violence bill provides support of law to women, although there are some husbands who get beaten up. But general violence is against women.
No, the NSC cites the fact that, I mean, this is no relation to it, you know, that wives are covered under the domestic violence bill, whereas there are also cases where men are the victims of domestic violence too. But that's, point is, Mr. Saxena, is this loaded against the majority community?
Not at all, not at all. The bill doesn't talk about the aggressor, whether they are the police or the majority community or any gundas. The bill only says that please, whoever is non-dominant in that area, this could be linguistic minority, there could be religious minority, they must have the full support of law. The presumption is that if there is an attack from the non-dominant group towards the dominant group, ordinary provisions of law, IPC, etc.
No, but here's a question. I open this up to debate tonight.
Okay.
Let me go up straight to Mahesh Jethmalani. I'm opening up this whole issue to debate. The charge the BJP makes is that the definition of the term group is narrow, and hence ensuing offences enlisted in the bill are highly prejudiced, because the group as defined in the bill is a religious or linguistic minority in any state of the Union of India.
Plus scheduled tribes and scheduled castes.
Yeah, but a minority. So
because they are in a minority.
No, does this bill presuppose that communal violence is only acts of violence committed against the minority by the majority?
Well, there are, in a communal situation, there could be violence on both sides. Yes, so but the experience of the last 30 years shows that violence is mostly against religious minorities. And therefore, it is they who require protection. No, and there is also a question of that the local police is generally, because of institutional bias and because of other factors, has not been able to provide full support and full protection to minorities.
Okay, Mahesh Jethmalani, your first rebut on this News Hour debate today. Does this bill presuppose that communal violence is only acts of violence committed against the minority?
But you know, Arnav, I'm a little surprised that this is a National Advisory Council, an NGO, financed and sponsored by the government. The chairperson is no less a person, Sonia Gandhi, and one of its main outputs now is a completely divisive, anti-Hindu and a bill subversive of communal harmony. The main point is that there are definitions of what constitutes communal and targeted violence, and these, as per 7, 8 and 9 of this bill, include sexual assault, it includes hate propaganda, and it includes torture. But these offences can only be committed against a group as defined under the Act.
You want to support the hate campaign?
My dear fellow, will you stop interrupting me? I'll come when I finish my whole argument. Perhaps you'll understand what I'm saying.
No, but it's not like that. Your opening remarks are definitely creating the problems. You are trying to say as if it's against Hindus, which is absolutely wrong.
Okay.
Being a lawyer, you should be very careful in choosing the words.
Okay, fine. Let him complete. I will come to you, Mr. Faruqui. Yes.
As soon as I finish, you will understand what I am saying. The 3 offences of communal violence, which include hate propaganda, sexual assault, and torture, only applies in respect of a group as defined under the Act. And as per the Act, Section 3E, you may please read it, a group only means a religious and linguistic minority. Therefore, if police indulge in torture against a person belonging to the majority community, which is not a group, or if Muslims commit gang rape against Hindu women, then it is not within the purview of the Act. And similarly, if any other community...
Reading of the bill.
Okay.
He's talking
1 minute, please read that.
Why 1 minute? Let me get everyone in at this stage. I see a first rebut also coming from
This bill is destructive of communal harmony. This bill is destructive of communal harmony.
Mr. Soos, I would like to let Mr. Soos get in here because the government's point of view, the NSC's point of view, they say it is a social reality that communal violence is against the minority community. And the BJP says this is a preconceived notion. That's where the debate stands. Let me get Mr. Soos. I'm coming back straight to you. Yes, Mr.
In our democracy, there should be zero tolerance for any communal strife. Therefore, this law is needed. And my predecessor this time, intervened with an allegation that it is deliberately done by UPA. The question is that we have reached at a very important point in our democratic life where there should be zero tolerance for communal violence in this country. And if there is communal violence, there should be an instrument to fight that, irrespective of caste, color and creed. So therefore, it is an instrument to provide justice to weaker sections of society. That we should do. We're a democracy. And there should be no sane person can oppose this measure, legal measure.
So is this, there are multiple places where the majority community would feel that there is an assumption here that communal violence can never happen against us. So that's you see, there is something called social reality, and the other is legal conditioning. We are legally conditioning the system legally to believe that there is no communal violence possible against the majority.
That is not true. That is not true. Let me explain. The provisions of Indian Penal Code would be attracted if there is an attack on the majority community. But because it has been seen that the police and district administration and the state government, because of bias, because of political factors, often doesn't take action against the majority community, and it is not able to provide protection to religious minorities as well as linguistic minorities. And with more economic development, migration is going to increase. There is going to be bias.
Why should everyone? See, what happens here is, in case a member of the minority community indulges in violence against the majority community, then Mr. Saxena says that will be covered under CRPC and IPC.
And the IPC, yes.
So as a member of the majority community will say that why should the same act of violence against me be covered under the CRPC? And
I will tell you, the answer is, please go through the reports of the judicial commissions. What have they said? And they have said in so many words that discrimination is practiced while doing arrest, discrimination is practiced, while deciding whom to beat up in
so
the
are we assuming there will always remain institutional discrimination?
There is no assumption. These are the findings.
These are the hard facts of life, Arnab. And I strongly object and agitated about using the word Muslims and Hindus. Because if you read the bill, what has been prepared by NAC, and it will be a great duty of responsibility of Congress to see to it that it is true. There is absolutely no question of Hindus and Muslims. We are talking about the linguistic minorities. We are talking about the people from one state to other who would be the non-dominant. We are talking about the people who have been the victims. And we are not talking in the air. We are talking on the basis of several judicial reports and other things which have been said that always the non-dominant groups have been victimized and have been the sufferers. So as a state, it is my responsibility to look after them, and I am not doing any favor to them.
What question, of course, goes, what difference would it have made if the group as defined in the bill would have been any group?
It has been very clearly defined.
It is very clearly defined. Or a linguistic minority. Sir, it is defined.
It is very clearly defined.
It is defined.
Yes, it is defined. Sir, it defines means a religious or linguistic minority in any state or scheduled caste.
That is the point.
So what scheduled caste and scheduled tribe would be?
Why a religious or linguistic minority? Why not any community?
Because these are the non-dominant groups and they are the sufferers. The scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, linguistic minority. Look what has happened in Tamil Nadu. What has happened in Karnataka? Tamil Nadu's the Tamil people were beaten up like anything, and ultimately they have to come for. They were asking for the plea from the central government to rescue them. So in these circumstances, because they are the non-dominant, they have to be supported. Where is the question of Hindus or Muslims?
So you are making, I suppose there's a northeastern state where there is a Christian community in a particular area is in a majority.
Right.
Then you are saying, you're a member of the Christian community, you're in a local domicile majority, hence tomorrow, even if there is violence against you, say by an illegal infiltrator, by a person of another community which has infiltrated your state, taken away your land, and that is communal violence of the most brutal form, you will not have the right to appeal under this bill.
Well, IPC is there.
No, but you are not. But why take that right?
Because just as you have atrocities against SC/ST Act, you have a Domestic Violence Act. These are special groups requiring special protection because the situation is such in the field that these are the groups who are not given protection.
Okay, now getting the other side. Rakesh Sinha, you've been listening on to the debate. Would you like to come in, please, Mr. Sinha? There seems an inevitability that this bill is being pushed through. Obviously, it's becoming political. I'd like to know where you stand, Mr. Sinha.
I am shocked to listen Mr. Saxena. He is misguiding the entire debate. He is simplifying a law which is going to destroy the constitution and the basic structure of the constitution. Arnav, I am just telling you three things. The bill is defining the group. Group is religious minorities. Religious minorities for all practical purposes is Muslims and Christians in the country. The communal violence is not between the linguistic communities. This bill is defining group means Muslim and Christian minorities. It is they who are victim. Victim means Muslim and Christian victim. Second thing, this bill defines if a complainant is a Muslim, a Christian or a minority, then he will be considered as a complainant and the accused will be considered presumed as a guilty. If a Muslim complains against the Hindu, for all practical purposes, a Hindu will be presumed to be a guilty and he has to prove his innocence. If he does not prove his innocence, he has to prove innocence, number one. Number two, it is not so simple. It talks of the coercive environment. If a Muslim businessman says that his business is not progressing due to 3 and 4 people who are creating a coercive environment, then these people will be victimized. He will be victim and these people will be victimized. This will lead the end of interdependence of the Hindus and Muslims, Hindus and Christians, because all the Hindus, majority community will fear. There will be fear psychosis among the majority community if there will be interdependence, if there is interactions between the two communities, if there is a dispute in that case, the Hindu will be victimized. Hindu will be brought under the orbit of this law. Mr. Saxena is misguiding the audience. Number three. Another point.
I'm sorry you are communalizing the whole thing. You are talking about Hindus.
Mr. Faruqui, please don't talk like the Muslim League leaders. You are pushing India in the three-partisan state. You are pushing India in the three-partisan state. Let me finish my third point.
And therefore,
let me finish my third point.
Linguistic minorities, scheduled castes, scheduled tribes. Let's not forget there are 4 different actors here. Scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, linguistic minorities, they are also being covered.
But what about some provisions? See, the provisions here